Hello and welcome. Let's see, here we go, to our lab stream. Let's see. All right, there we go. Today I'm doing a little bit of an experiment. I'm checking out kind of an alternate streaming setup. Hopefully it looks the same, more or less to you. But anyways, I've given it a whirl. Sorry, so if I seem a little preoccupied, it's because things are slightly different than my normal setup. Oops. So hello and welcome. If you have any questions, go ahead and fire away. Oh, I already see my first mistake here. I'm gonna highlight it. This is not a lecture. This is a lab. Oops. There we go. This is a lab stream. So this is our introductory lecture to our lab class. Again, structurally, there will be a lot of similarities between this section and Professor Foster's. However, the stuff like due dates and those kind of specific nitty-gritty policies are unique to our section. So I'm just going to go through the syllabus. Not going to read it word for word, but I'm going to highlight kind of the importance, the big themes, things to watch out for, idiosyncrasies with this course, etc. This is now my second to third time teaching. I'll call it 2.5. I was teaching Chem 400 when COVID hit. That was about halfway through the semester. And then last semester, we taught the entire thing. So I've been through the whole thing once, been through the second half of the class or 2 times actually. So this is my second to third time through. That's why I'm a little ambiguous on the start date. So let's go ahead and begin with, so this is an asynchronous lab. This lab class is asynchronous. All right, we are asynchronous here. And so what that is going to put a significant challenge on you because we don't have any scheduled meetings. Completing the work, staying on top of things is 100% on your shoulders. So the challenge here is you have to self-motivate. All right, you have to self-motivate. Because if you don't, you're going to miss deadlines. You're going to start things late. You're not going to be able to get help, and things are going to go bad. So you kind of have to like rev yourself up and just take this thing by the horns. You need to self-motivate. You're going to need to start. I would recommend starting early. And you're going to want to follow the lab schedule that is in the syllabus. All right. And if you can, not just follow this thing, but you could even get ahead. Of this thing. So that is going to be the biggest challenge for you this semester, will be self-motivating. So just some tips, some things you want to keep in mind to be successful in this class. So some tips for success. This one's stated in the negative, but I would start by saying do not start an assignment the day it's due. All right, you don't want to start an assignment the day it's due, because if you do, you won't be able to get help. Most likely, you won't be able to get help if you get stuck. All right, something to remember is my email response time, and I know I went over this yesterday, but email typically takes me 24 to 48 hours to respond. So if you start something the day it's due and get stuck and don't know where to go, and you send me an email, you might not be hearing back till the next day at the soonest. Maybe even 2 days later, at which point you missed the deadline. But that's not on me, that's on you for not starting early. You've got to start early if you want to be able to receive feedback, get unstuck, etc. So that is critical for your success in this class. Another tip for success is I would work on labs. Before, all right, I'm gonna emphasize that situation, before scheduled office hours. All right. The reason for this is there are some questions that cannot be answered over email. There are some questions like, I'm having trouble with this calculation. I'm not exactly sure what to do. Like, me typing the words, explaining it, won't actually help you, because the labs that you have, the pre-lab material, the lab manual PDFs that we have up on Canvas are very, very, very thorough. And so me typing it will literally read the same as the lab manual you already have. So there are some situations, some questions that email cannot answer. And so what you want to do is you want to start these labs and get stuck. Find those places you get stuck ahead of scheduled office hours. I realize I haven't posted them yet. They'll be hitting up on Canvas sometime this week. Once I finish ironing out my schedule between the 3 colleges I'm teaching at this semester. But begin the labs before a scheduled office hour. That way you have a chance at asking live, because if it's, like I said, there are some questions that email just isn't suited towards. And so in live office hours, I'll be up here, I'll be live streaming, you'll have a chance to interact, and we'll have a chance to go back and forth and really get to the heart of the problem in a way that email just can't do. What I'm going to publish a variety of office hours. I believe there's going to be at least 4 different ones. I might be adding more. I'm not 100% sure yet, but there'll be at least 4. And if you can't make any of them, that's totally fine, because if you can't make an office hour, you can always email me office hour questions. All right, you just got to remember your subject. Whoa. subject should be Chem 400 office hours. And if you can, attach a picture. I realize that's more for like homework problems. If you have, like, you're doing a homework problem and you need some help on one. But if you maybe attach a picture of the lab manual or whatever, that can be helpful for me for answering your questions. So start your labs early, work on them ahead of office hours. That way you have a chance for feedback. Again, if you miss it, if you don't, and you shoot me an email and it can't be answered over email, or I can't get to it in the time window, you're out of luck. So don't put yourself in that situation. Be on top of things. Be responsible. Start things before office hours. All right. And here's the thing. This is like the tip of the season. When you procrastinate, well, let's go. When you procrastinate, all right, when you procrastinate, you are risking not getting the help you need. All right, and that is the biggest thing here. You're risking not getting the help you need when you procrastinate starting your lab. So please don't procrastinate. And if you do, and you don't get help, that one's on you, dude. All right? Okay, let's talk about, so those are kind of general tips for success. You want to be proactive. You want to stay on top of things. You want to get to things early. Let's talk about some important policies. So in the lab, there is a lab. Whoa. Okay. There's a lab safety waiver. And quiz. And now that I'm writing it, I need to make sure that the quiz is actually in Canvas. So I'm going to write myself a note real quick. Just to make sure that quiz is live. But there's a lab safety waiver and quiz. And both of these are due. This coming Monday at 11:59 p.m., which is when I've made at least all the assignments in my courses due at 11:59. Much like the syllabus quiz, if you are late, you will be dropped. All right. There is a high demand for this class. There are a lot of people wanting to get in who want the opportunity to. And so if you miss this deadline, you'll be dropped and your spot will be given to someone who is waitlisted. So again, prove to me that you want to stay. take the lab safe, fill out the lab safety waiver, take the quiz, stay in the class. All right. Let's talk about our lab grades. All right, so in this class, as I said yesterday, lab is worth, all of the lab assignments together are worth 30% of your letter grade. All right, lab is worth 30% of your letter grade. The lab portion of the course is divided into, there are 20 lab assignments this semester. There are 20 assignments. That are 25 points each. All right. There are a total of 12 eLabs and 8 exercises. Oops. The eLabs are experiments. And the exercises are basically the problem sets. All right, so you've got 12 experiments, you've got 8 problem sets, and that is the lab class. Something I want to warn you about is these exercises. They tend to be long. Or, you know what? I'm actually just going to start anew. Let's talk about exercises. All right, these are they're whoops. They're Canvas quizzes. They are not timed. All right, they're not. I would say there's no time limit, but they close on the due date. So to say there's no time limit sounds like you've got infinite time. You can start them, you can stop them, as long as it's before the due date. It'll save your progress. After the due date, you won't be able to work on them anymore, and it will just score you based on the amount of it that you completed. But they're not timed. You don't have to worry about like, I've got to sit down and finish this now. And part of the reason why I haven't set a time limit is these things are stinking long. And what do I mean by that situation? For example, Um, the lab exercise number 2 has 140, whoa, not 140, excuse me, 142 questions. All right, so you do not want to leave these for like the last day or, you know, like log in. Oh, it's like a few hours before. Let me just bang this out. Look at them first, like, and you can. They're all available at this moment in time. You can go through them. You can see their length. And the thing is, don't be deceived if they have less problems. Exercise 2 is like the poster child for the long one. There's 142 questions on there, but that's the nomenclature worksheet. So each question is like, you have to name this thing, or here's a name, write the formula. There are some shorter ones, fewer questions, that may take more time because there's stoichiometry. The problems are more complex. So don't be lulled into a false sense of security like, oh, this one only has 28 problems. It's probably going to take you as long, if not longer, to do the one with 28 problems as it will this one with 142. And again, this brings home kind of my armature for this entire lab situation. The one thing you want to do with these exercises is start early. Starting early is your only defense against getting stuck, against not being able to get help, and losing points. All right, that is your only defense, is starting early. I beg you to start early for the sake of yourself and the sake of your grade. All right. Okay. Exercises. That's about all there is. They're long. They're good practice. Doing the lab exercises is often goes hand in hand with studying for lectures. So because the problems on the exercises will often correlate to what we're doing in lecture. So that's a very, it's a good way to kind of kill two birds with one stone. It's lecture study and it's earning you lab points. But check the lab schedule, stay on top of these guys. Let's talk, whoa, that was ugly. Let's talk about eLabs. All right, so there are, as we said, there are 12 of these. And there are 2 formats in which they will manifest. As far as the grading assignment goes, the eLabs, each one is different. Some will be a mixture of videos to watch. There's online simulation stuff that you can do through a program called Beyond Labs. Information is on Canvas on where to download it, what's an access code. You don't have to buy it. The chemistry department at Folsom Lake College has purchased a license for all students to use, which is awesome. All right. I was thrilled that they made that decision rather than pass the cost on to you. So you don't have to purchase it. I teach at other schools where students do. So, you know, be glad you're here, not there. And so anyways, each lab will be different, but there's specific instructions for how to do each eLab. Some will be watching a video of Folsom Lake College faculty doing the experiment, and you'll take notes and record observations. And again, the procedure for each lab, how to accomplish each lab, will change experiment to experiment. Each one is lined out not identically. Specifically on Canvas. I'll talk about where to find it in just a minute. But what you're graded on will come in one of 2 formats. You will either you'll either have a so the first of the 2 is you will complete a worksheet submitting it as a PDF, which is worth 10 points. and then based on the material, based on the videos you watched, the calculations you did, you'll complete a worksheet and then take a timed quiz. And that'll be worth 15 points. Or the second form that the eLab assignment will take, which your grade is based off of, is you will write up a formal lab report for some of these. And that write-up is worth 25 points altogether. Some things you should know about these assignments. The first is the Canvas quiz. So there are free response questions. Oops. And I have to grade these manually. So that means that when you take one of these quizzes, you finish it. I think they're all about 20 minutes. So you take these quizzes, you pop out, you see your grade, and you'll be like, how did I do that bad? The thing is, the Canvas can grade multiple choice, it can grade numerical answer, but it can't grade free response. Canvas doesn't actually understand chemistry. So after the quiz is taken, I have to go in and manually read everyone's answer and go, is that correct? Yes or no? Is that correct? Yes or no? Is that correct? Yes or no? So the grade that you see when you first complete your Canvas quiz is all the points you scored on the auto-graded stuff, but it does not include it's assuming you get zeros for your free response stuff, and then I have to go back in and correct it. So when you complete a Canvas quiz, don't panic. That's not necessarily your final score. That's what your score would be if you answer every single free response question wrong. And to this day, I've never seen that happen. So everybody gets something back. Now, I've seen people get full on their free response. I've seen people only hit one, like 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4. So it may not be the dramatic boost you're assuming. It just depends upon whether or not you answered those questions right. But Canvas can't grade them. I do. So just be aware of that. For the formal lab write-up, I will be posting more information about them and kind of what my expectations are once we get closer to the formal lab reports. You won't have to deal with these for a while. The formal lab write-ups are on eLab 6, and then 9 through 12. So 6 is kind of the first eLab. That'll take me a little bit to grade, but I'll be able to get you that feedback before you do your second report on experiments 9, 10, 11, 12, etc. And then the worksheet quiz format will be used for eLabs 1 through 5, and then 7 and 8. All right, so we're going to kind of start the semester with worksheets and quizzes. The worksheets are PDFs; they're pretty self-explanatory, and then we'll do our first formal report with 6, then kind of close out the semester writing formal reports, getting ready for, fingers crossed, in-person instruction. You guys may, knock on wood, be lucky enough to actually do your Chem 401 in person, but that totally depends upon the pandemic and things outside of our control. So that's the format of all of the eLabs in this class. Something that you should know as far as online assignments go. So right now, if you're like really gung ho and you're like, okay, I want to go and start banging some of these out. And you'll start reading some of the material, and some, if you are a super eager weaver, you might read some and go, oh, we haven't talked about that in lecture, depending upon where you are in lecture. And so if you recognize something in the lab where you're like, oh, I haven't gotten there yet. Well, actually, scratch that. If you follow the lab schedule, if you're not behind, then you're good. Sometimes the lab schedule might push you into a concept that we haven't discussed in lecture, but that's fine. You're just getting exposed to it in lab first. But right now, if you're wondering, what can I do? What's available to me? I haven't finished building out our Canvas shell. I've done a pretty good chunk of it, so there's a lot of material available for you to do, but you can't, at this moment in time, begin, for example, experiment 12 and complete it. So right now, available to you are exercises 1 through 6, and exercise 8 are all live, and right now you can complete eLabs 1 through 8, I believe. So I haven't finished building out 9 through 12. I haven't finished exercise 7 yet, but those will be coming, and I'll post announcements when they become available. But right now, you basically have enough material locked and loaded in our Canvas to see you through till about April, approximately. So we've got a couple months running head start, and I'll fill out and complete the rest of the Canvas shell. Kind of as we move through the semester, I'm working on getting my other classes live and ready to go, so we're kind of in a holding pattern here. Once those launch, then I'll come back to ours and finish the end of the semester's build. All right, let's talk about where to find our lab material. All right, so all of our eLabs on Canvas are under pages. So when you look at the side bar in Canvas, there's, announcements, assignments, grades, all that stuff. You want to click pages. And one thing to note is when you click on pages, it just takes you to our front page, the front page of the class. When you're there, you want to click View All Pages, and that will take you to the index of, once you click there, then you'll see eLab 1, eLab 2, eLab 3, eLab 4, etc., all the way at this moment in time through eLab 8. That'll be visible to you once you click View All Pages. Now, each eLab has its own page. All of the instructions so the instructions for each lab eLab is contained on its page / in the documents found there. Or I should say in the docs and links. This reality will require something that is uncomfortable for some students. This will require you to read. There are some videos explaining things, but there's also material that you have to read. There's posts to lab manual pages. There's step-by-step explanations on how to do calculations, for example. And you'll have to read. You'll have to read your way through it. And here's the thing. If you email me asking a question that's explained on the eLab page or in the documents or links found there, you're going to get an email from me back saying the information you are seeking is contained on the eLab page. Here's the thing. I'm totally here to help. I want to help you. I want to support you. But I am not here to hold your hand. All right? And so if you're asking me a question that's answered by the material already posted, I'm going to direct you back there. If you need clarification or you're not understanding something, and there's some nuanced stuff, I'm not saying don't email me, but if the answer is there, then I'm going to direct you back to the material. It's kind of like I have my stepson is he's 10, and he can have trouble finding things. And I was the exact same way actually when I was his age, or I still struggle with that. My wife's way better at that sort of situation, and so anyways, couldn't find the TV remote. And my wife asked him, "Have you looked on the table?" And he's like, "No." He goes and looks and doesn't see it. He goes, "Oh, it's not there." And there was a bunch of stuff on the table, and I walked over and I looked like under some things, like there was like a dish towel and just a bunch of stuff. It wasn't a clean table. I just poked around a little bit and saw it under the dish towel, and so I was like, "Yo, dude, it is on the table." He's like, "Where?" I was like, "Well, I'm not going to tell you that part. You gotta solve that part yourself." And he starts looking under things and rummaging around, and eventually he finds it. And I feel like the eLabs are like that. Sometimes it takes more than just skimming quickly to find the answer to your information. And so if you ask me a question that is contained there, I'm going to direct you back because I know you're capable of finding it, just like I knew he was. So anyways, so yeah, that's that. Okay, let's talk about we touched on this yesterday. Touching on our my late policy. Late assignments are not accepted. All right, and that's just it. If you miss a deadline, you get a 0 on that assignment. No two ways about it. And again, keep your eye on the lab schedule. You want to stay on top of things. Let's talk about academic honesty. All right, academic honesty. Here's the deal. Um, and I know we talked about plagiarism yesterday, but it's worth revisiting here. Plagiarism is presenting another's work as your own. And really, this is the crux of it right here. It's presenting another's work as your own. You see, because in this class, you are going to share data sets with other students. There are links in all of the eLab pages. I've already assigned the data sets for the 8 labs that are live. The labs that aren't live, part of the reason why they're not is I haven't assigned data sets for them yet. You're going to share a data set with at least one other student, sometimes several others, all right? And the thing is, that's done on purpose, and all of your names are on there so you can find each other and talk to each other, because you should be collaborating on this. Lab is normally done in a partner kind of setting, and so you're going to have the same set of data. You should be getting the same answer. If two people do the calculations with the same set of data and there are two answers, there's two possibilities. Either one of you is right and one of you is wrong, or you're both wrong. But if there's a discrepancy, you got to figure that out. You got to solve that together because you want to get the correct answer. And you should have, if you've both done it correct, because there's only one right answer, if you've both done it correct, you should have the same answers. But that does not mean you should have the same work, all right? The work needs to be different, all right? So here's the critical part of it, all right? And this is where discipline, academic discipline, has come into play in the past. Shared data does not equal shared work. All right, because shared work is plagiarism. All right, shared work is plagiarism. So you should be getting the same answers, but you should be writing out your calculations independently. If you're writing, you should be typing up your own things in your own words. And here's the thing, because I'm assigning the data, one thing you should note, this is in the lab syllabus, you're not allowed to use a data set that you haven't been assigned. So I'll be checking to make sure that you're using the data sets that I've given to you. If you're not, you'll just get a 0 if you use another data set. I am going to be checking I check the work within a data set. And if they're all identical, you're all getting 0s. All right? The thing you need to know is all parties the sharers and the takers are punished for academic dishonesty and for plagiarism. All right? So that's the thing, is it's not, there's, in plagiarism, there isn't one guilty party and one innocent party. The person who originally does the work, who gets plagiarized, is complicit in the plagiarist's cheating. And you both receive the same penalty. You both get a 0 on the assignment, get reported, possibly fail the class. All right? So word to the wise. You should never share a document with your work you should never share a document with your work that someone can copy and paste. All right? If they can copy and paste it, then you can get plagiarized, and then you are involved in plagiarism. There's no two ways about it. So protect yourself. I highly recommend collaboration. I highly recommend working through things together, talking through things. But don't set yourself up. Don't put yourself in a place where it's like, oh, here's what I did. Because if that person copies and pastes it, it doesn't matter that they're the one who made that decision. You left yourself exposed, and you'll face the same consequences. So please, 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 don't open yourself up like that. All right. Okay, that is about all of my pre-prepared material. Oops. At this point, I want to know if you have any questions for me that I have not addressed yet. If you're wondering anything, please ask away. It's been kind of a quiet stream in the live chat. So if you have any questions before we wrap things up, now's the time to hit me. One question that I have for you, and it's been a quiet live chat, so I don't know if anyone will comment on this. Oh, let's see. Oh, dude. Oops. Krenza, I am totally stoked to have you. I've had an awesome break. I hope you have as well. It is pleasant to see you up in the chat again. One question that I do have is whether or not to open a class Discord. So I have I'm teaching at a few different colleges, and so far during the pandemic, I've been primarily using YouTube, etc. But I'm doing an experiment with one of my other classes, not this one, but at another college that I'm teaching, I built a class Discord server, and I'm using that as like part of the instruction to kind of run discussions and that sort of thing. And I don't know if that would be a resource that you would all be interested in. I don't know if you as a class have any experience using Discord. It can be a great place to meet. You can also see who else is online, and roles can be assigned according to like who's sharing a data set, so you can pop on and see like, oh, there's one of my buddies who has the same set. Let's move to a channel and talk about the lab or whatever. I know that students in my courses have used it in the past to help kind of provide like a connecting spot and discussion group and stuff like that. So I'm doing an experiment. I'm using it in another class in an official capacity. It's like in the syllabus, and I'm providing support for that. One of the things in science is you run controls and you only change one variable at a time. So I'm kind of using it experimentally this semester to see is it effective? Do students use it? Do students like it? But I can totally set one up, kind of like an informal one for our class as well. So Avinia, I hope I pronounced that correct. I can totally set one up because I've been working on the one for the other class, and if there was an interest in kind of using it as a connecting point, Karenza, you'd like to see one too? Okay, I'm also going to post a question thing to Canvas to kind of see what feedback I get from the broader class, but it's one of the things I've kind of been toying with, and it could be really useful, especially in the context of lab, particularly. So it looks like, I mean, it's been kind of a quiet feed, but the 2 humans who've commented out of the 8 concurrent viewers. So we've got what's that? 25% voter response, but 100% of the 25 have said yeah. Oh, Avi. Okay, awesome. Avi, I am stoked to meet you. I'm glad you're here. Do you guys have any other questions before I wrap up the stream, the feed? If not, then I will be closing it down. Thank you everybody for coming. I actually don't know if you know how the YouTube live stream works, but I see the total number of concurrent viewers, but I don't actually see the specific users. So of the 7 people who are currently watching, I only know that Krentz and Avi are here. But Krentz and Avi, thank you for poking your head above water and saying hey in the chat. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Hopefully this has been informative. Yeah. So this is the beginning of the semester. Again, keep an eye on Canvas. I'll be posting a question about Discord, maybe a little survey situation, and what else? There was another thing I was going to say. Oh, and I'll be also posting my office hours. I'm currently in the last kind of stages of figuring out what my schedule for this semester will be. But once I have that ironed out, I'll be posting live office hours, the schedule on our Canvas, and those will be starting officially next week. All right, thanks, dudes, for showing up. Good to see you, those of you who I can't see, and I'll catch you next time. Later.